Welcome to the exercise for Module 1, Self-Mastery and Choice. Follow along each step as I lay it out. If you need more time for any step, just hit the pause button. There is no rush. Have fun with it.
You mentioned that you had an exercise for us. Can you tell us what that's about?
Sure. This exercise is called appreciative use of self. So think of a moment of a time when you were at your very best. I'll give you an example for myself. It was the morning of the first day of a course in conflict management, specifically for the senior executive servicers of the Federal Aviation Administration. I had sent them a copy of my not yet published manuscript on human power dynamics. During the check-in that I always start with, one curmudgeon check-in went like this. He picks up a copy of my manuscript and slams it down on the table and says, if this course is about this, I'm out of here.
Ouch.
However, being in a very centered space that morning, I said in return, that's okay, sir, but please buy a copy when it comes out. Everybody just broke up, except this one guy, of course. What had happened is I had passed an important test. The question being, was I going to be a strong enough facilitator to help this very senior group learn and work through whatever conflicts might surface during the course?
Okay.
I felt great about it. I felt calm about it. I felt centered. So the point of this exercise is to get back at a time when you felt at your very best and to see if you can get back into what was that experience like? Now, what did it feel like to be at your very best?
Okay, so why don't you set it up for us?
Well, that's the first step. Think of a time when you are at your very best and see if you can get back in touch with the feelings. Was it joyful? What was it? Calm? Was it great? Those kinds of things. That's step number one. Step number two, think about what do you believe about being at your very best? Does it depend upon certain circumstances? Does it depend upon it being a full moon? Does it have to be an emergency before you can be at your very best? Is there a certain time of day that is required? Does it depend upon what someone else is doing?
Okay.
Those are the kind of things to be thinking about. And then I have a final question for you. Can you choose to be at your very best whenever you want to?
All right. So let me get this. So I have to think of a time when I was at my very best and the emotions that went along with it. And then ask myself, what did I believe about that? What do I need? What do I believe about being at my very best?
Yes.
What are the circumstances that I believe need to be in place?
If anything, yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I got a time and so circumstances, what other people were doing, perhaps. Does your belief have to do with some other things that need to be in place in order for you to be at your very best? And the last question you had is, can you choose to be at your very best when you want to? All right.
Yes.
I have an example in mind.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Oh, you'd like me to share it? Okay,
Please.
Will do. All right. So there was, part of my work is I present to leaders and try to sway and influence them towards a certain decision around a program or, an intervention of some kind. So that's part of my work. That's what I do as a learning and change practitioner. And so I have that instance in mind. I think that what I felt in that moment, I just felt utterly calm and focused. And I was totally in the moment and listening and responding. So being in the moment allowed me to like listen to the leader and hear his language and take that language and then build upon it. And so he then incorporated my language into his language. And then I kind of got, because this is the first call I had with this individual. So I was also trying to establish some credibility. And
Cool.
that just that being calm, focused, and all that stuff really helped establish that credibility and kind of win over this person. So that
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
was the time when I was at my very best.
Super. So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you have to succeed at what you're doing for you to have been at your very best? It's impossible that you could have been at your very best and it didn't work out so well.
Um, That's a great question. I do believe that I need to be successful in order to be at my very best.
Hmm.
Yes.
Can you tell me why you believe that?
Wow, Michael, that's a really hard question. I think because I define best by success in my ability to have impact on other people,
Interesting. Interesting. So,
ability to be able to sort of either change or control the situation at
uh,
hand.
so, so if you cannot change or control something, you cannot be at your very best.
In the context of a work, yes.
Does that really make sense to you?
Well, actually, now that thank you for bringing that up. I was actually thinking about a time where I was also very calm and focused and presenting to leadership an idea, and I was completely ripped to shreds and shot down. And I took it very calmly. And I was actually someone came up to me afterwards and said, "You were very calm in the response." And I was at my very best. I was at my best. I did not have the support that I needed in that moment from my leadership. And I did not have the support I needed. I didn't have enough buy-in essentially in order to have that conversation. But there's nothing I could have done about that given the circumstances.
Cool. So then being at your very best does not mean that you're in control of the world or other people. It just means that you were at your very best.
Okay, I can accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is a very important distinction, that being at my very best is great, but it doesn't mean that I can control everything that is around me. And being at my very best, I'm more likely to succeed, but it doesn't guarantee anything.
Okay. So I guess I mean, I could have been better in that second situation that I described. I feel like I could have been better had I thought through the sort of other people that I needed to get on my side. If I'd kind of worked harder at it, I feel like I could have been better in that situation. I could have had the same success.
So even at our very best, there's still space to learn,
Okay.
which is just fine.
Well, it just calls into question for me if I can be at, could I have been better? I mean, I guess I'm asking yourself, is your there's a best self where I was a situation where I was at my very best, but then there's a situation like could I have been better? Is it like if you look at a situation, you're like, I could have been better in that situation. How
Well,
does that mean that I'm at my best self?
so you are at your best and you could be better. It's like there is always space to learn and grow and be better. Unless you are one of those unfortunate people who believe in perfection.
Ah, so I think then that's an interesting point because then what I hear you saying is that there's a certain level of acceptance. Um, like I accept that I was at my very best and I wasn't able to change or shift the situation at hand. due to
Mhm.
circumstances that
Well,
were not really in my
just
control.
let's stay with our topic. Let's say
Okay.
what we've done now is uncovered a series of choices
Okay.
about how you want to define being at your very best. And rather than being on automatic, how you always think about this, you now have a wider range of choices about how you can think about that. And that's what conscious use of self is about.
So, are you saying, Michael, that I can choose to be at, even though I have a belief that I'm not at my, say, best first thing in the morning, that I can choose to be at my best? And
Well, that's up for you to choose. Say this whole program is about you choosing. And the question of choosing what's going to work best for you to accomplish your goals. Does it work for you to really believe that you cannot be at your very best in the morning? And is it really true? Have you never been at your very best in the morning?
it's not true because that one, that the first situation I described to you was in the morning after a very long flight, late flight the night before. I was
Yes.
still able to be at my best.
Perfect. Perfect. See, on automatic, you have this idea that goes through your head is I cannot be at my best in the morning. That is an automatic thought that you have. And it's really not true. When we're being conscious about our use of self, we can begin to notice, oh, yeah, I say that all the time, but it really isn't true. Huh. I wonder how I limit myself with that belief. When do I really need it at all? Or is it just a habit that doesn't make any difference? So now we're at conscious choice. Are you with me?
I think so. I mean, it has taken me a long time to realize that I can make choices about how I am in the world. I can choose to be at my very best. And maybe that is not, it's not my idea of perfection of my very best, but I kind of need to, that's not what it's about. It's about making that choice to say, I'm going to be at my very best. And
Super. See, now you have gone someplace that not many people have gone. Many people have very limiting beliefs about what is possible for them. And this program is about loosening up some of those beliefs simply by noticing them, noticing if they are useful, useless, or even getting in the way, and then being able to make new and more powerful, more potent choices, particularly choices in terms of how you need to behave in the world if you want other people to follow you.
okay. Yes. And I think coming back to the idea of leadership, and by the way, thank you. I've been working at this for years. Um, so let's go back to our, how do I use this appreciative use of self exercise in my daily life as a leader? How should I use this exercise?
You can use it anytime you're feeling kind of stuck, anytime you feel like you're in a tough spot. And you can go, what would I do if I were at my very best? And you might notice, that some level of anxiety has built. But when you're at your very best, you are calm and are centered. And just by reminding yourself, you can take a deep breath because stress cannot stay in place if we take deep breaths. Calm yourself down and go, okay, let me think, what do I want to accomplish here? And then you focus on that and you just watch it happen.
Okay. Thank you for that, Michael. So let's just recap a few things here. Conscious use of self is about choice. It's about becoming aware of the impact that we're having, are aware of the results that we're getting or not getting, and then making a choice to do something differently and making a choice to be at our very best.
Yes.
And remembering what that feels like, I think, is a critical part of it, and bringing that best self to the everyday interactions as leaders.
Sounds good. Just to add a little bit, that our awareness isn't just the awareness of what we're doing, it's also the awareness of our thought process, our emotions, and our beliefs. Because we looked at all four of those as we went through your great example.
Great, thank you. If there's, I think there's an opportunity for people to have dialogue with you on the online forum if they want to. Is that right?
That is exactly right. Just sign in. You can see it as soon as you finish this video. You post your question, your comment. I'll get back to you within a day.
And so, what is our next topic on conscious use of self?
Next topic, conscious use of self, will be energy sponges.
Great.
Energy sponges are those things we do that just soak up all of our time, so much of our energy, without producing much of anything.
Thank you.
It's a powerful session. Don't miss it.
I think it's time to say goodbye, Michael.
Okay. Goodbye, Michael. And goodbye to you too, Ronnie.